Welcome to Instant Deck Techs. The aim of this series is to give you a short, concise guide on how to build a certain deck. It won't cover every card, but we'll go through all the categories and go over the types of cards needed to make the deck work. Any card mentioned will be down in the description below. The commander of this deck is Inniaz the Gale Force. It is 3 blue for a 4/4 legendary creature Djinn with flying. It has 2 hybrid Azorius for attacking creatures with flying get +1/+1 until end of turn. It also has the ability, whenever 3 or more creatures you control with flying attack, each player gains control of a non-land permanent of your choice controlled by the player to their right. The aim of this deck is to flood the board with a load of flyers, then play Inniaz and other flying lord effects, so that we can swing through and kill our opponents. We'll be playing some cards that by using Inniaz we'll be gifting to our opponents to slow them down and help us win. The first part of the deck is additional lords. These will buff up our flyers and make our Air Force a lethal threat. I'd run at least 8 of these, but you can run up to 12 as well. To go with those lords, we want to run some token makers, so that we can make a board state as quickly as possible. A lot of the tokens will be in the form of spirits, but as long as it flies, it has a place in the deck. There is a good amount of creatures with flying that will help us protect our key creatures in a number of different ways. I would definitely want a few of these in the deck, and even the cheap ones will be useful late game once they have been pumped up by our lords. As we're in blue, we'll have access to plenty of card draw. In this kind of deck, if the card draw is on a flyer, or if it makes flyers like Court of Grace, then we can run more of them, as they fit into the overall strategy. In a deck like this, with so many evasive threats, I would run all of the coastal piracy effects, as they will cause us to draw a ton of cards. The base for the ramp in this deck will be pretty standard. Run the best rocks you have access to, as they will all do work in the deck. I would want to run at least 8 mana rocks in total. Outside of these, you can run Sword of the Animist and Dowsing Dagger. Sword gets us a land whenever we attack with a flyer, and Dowsing Dagger flips into a land that taps for 3 mana. You can also run these 2 cards, which reduce the cost of all of our flyers. Run these, or the previous mentioned equipment, in addition to the rocks. Don't replace the rocks for them. White and blue has some of the best interaction available. Run the best 8 bits that you have available to you. I'd recommend splitting these into 4 bits of interaction and 4 board wipes. It's worth mentioning as well in this section that Oblivion Ring style effects will work very well in the deck, as they come in and they exile a creature, and then we can choose them to be gifted to an opponent, so we don't have to gift them anything good with Inniaz. The downside is obviously that these are at sorcery speed, so I'd consider mixing them up with some of the other interaction we mentioned. In white we have access to some bits of recursion, which I'd consider running in the deck. Sun Titan is just a solid magic card, and Revelark flies, so it has a place in the deck for that, and then also it can bring back some of our lords if they're already in the graveyard. To take advantage of Inniaz's second ability, we're going to be running some dedicated effects that we want to gift and move around to our opponents. With these, make sure that they are played in the pre-combat main phase, before you attack, as you want to get rid of them as quickly as possible. A quick mention on Pendant of Prosperity, as this is one we want to gift to our opponent to our right and then immediately take it back, as then it will read 2 and tap, draw 2 and put 2 lands into play, which is very, very good. We can also run Magus of the Moat and Archetype of Imagination. If these don't get answered, then we will quickly win the game, and they will take up so much of our opponent's attention that we can spend the rest of the time getting further ahead. You can also run a couple of big hitters in the deck at the top end to help close out games. Run your favourite flying threats in this slot. We can also run some other effects that either buff up our team in one go, or continually add the amount of damage that our attacks will do. You can also run some utility lands here to help fill some holes in the deck. I'd only run 4 lands that don't tap for a colour of mana, but look for things that create or become flyers or help smooth out our draws. This video was a request from a viewer. The next couple of deck techs you will see will also be from requests in the comments. If you have a deck you'd like to see, please let us know. If you like the look of those, please consider subscribing. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next time.